Chapter 15. Family Dramas. After many work, they have to rest and eat. Fino and Sam have blood packs and gets them regular from vampire contacts. The group members didn't have this advantage and have to search for food. Mostly they get food from people of the towns they help. But very often they get only a thanks, because the people haven't enough for themselves. In such a case they drive to the next village or town and empty stores, bakery, farmhouses, private apartments and supermarket. Best before food wasn't good anymore, and so we searched only for tins, noodles, package of bread and in sealed glasses fruits and vegetables. We also take food who contain substances with long lifetime. For example, sweets, smoking meat and fish, sugar, flour, muesli, cornflakes and spices. To cook the meal we have always pans and pots in our cars and trucks. We didn't get always clean water and so we take all bottles of mineral water we find. At our first robberies, some people couldn't resist and take also alcohol and cigarettes. After we realized that we need all space for food and water and the smoker and alcoholics get reduced rations, they were very fast able to resist the addicted stuff. If someone gets hungry, he learns very fast what is important. Hunger and thirsty are after a time more painful than the addiction. At the beginning they struggle, but Fino and Sam make clear that they never accept such a childish behavior. Nobody knows what they mean. The boys didn't fix the speech. But everyone knows how good they are at slaying zombies. They know exactly what they can do and so nobody say any word against the bloodsucker. Why should they? These both were vampires and nobody in the group wants to anger them. On one evening we get 4 stories for our entertainment. Although it was extensive, only one story. Mike, Jim, Klaus and Kevin tells us how they lost all what they have. From time to time they added parts of the story, changed the teller after Jim starts the story. The following is only a summary. Together on a big building place, far away from home, they work on a house. Over the radio they keep themselves informed what happened and days before, they saw the horrible pictures from Great Britain in the news before their drive to work. At this point of time, Germany wasn't occupied in any kind of the plague. All believed the sea kept them away on the island. Nobody knows about the spell and that the sea could keep them away. And so it comes how it had to come. They work very busy as suddenly another worker scream they should come to the radio and listen. The news had new informations about the zombies. At the same moment all let fall their tools and ran to the radio and collected themselves around the small radio. The owner of the radio turns the volume to maximum. Out of the speakers, a voice of the spokesman report from first zombie appearance in Germany. All over the country undead come out of their graves. At once all workers run to the cars and drive home. Also Jim, Klaus and Kevin drive home after they catch the expensive tools. The freeways were of course the hell and they need more than 8 hours to drive home instead of 4 hours they normally need for the journey. After they arrived their home village it was too late. The half village was dead and walked on 2 feet. The rest were eaten or escaped. Mike and Klaus fall in a deep depression because they believe they were too slow and arrived too late their home. They curse themselves for the unnecessary of the collection of the tools. Jim and Kevin lost also their loved ones, but they didn't waste time for self-pity. Both know that the warning from the news come too late. If they drove at once after the report from the radio, they never come soon enough to prevent the happening and their family were still dead. Mike and Klaus asked them, "Where do you get your knowledge?" Jim and Kevin answered, "Take a look on your cell phone. We get more than 1 SMS from our families." Yes, what does it mean? Look at the time scale. All messages were sent 12 hours ago. Mike and Klaus didn't realize the time scale. In panic they only read the message. Although all advised him to avoid the message on his mailbox, Jim starts the message of his wife. He hears the voice of his wife from the small speaker and from his kids. In the background they can clearly hear the noises of zombies. We understand only a few words and a loud knocking on the front door, but what they scream was totally clear. The zombie rise up from the village cemetery and walk around the streets. Now they search for an entrance to the house of Jim's family. Suddenly they hear the breaking of the door and the undead come in. The children scream in pain after the zombies attack them. Their screams freeze the whole blood of all 4 men at once. After a few minutes the screams stopped and the only noises were the noises of the flesh-eating zombies in the background. Jim had enough and smashed his phone on the closest wall. After they realized the death of their loved ones, their sadness turned to hate. Mike was the first to take a shovel and walk into the village. The other 3 didn't ask him any question to get his intention. They know exactly what he wants to do and follow him at once. After they take a hammer, knife or a spade. Totally armed, they walk together in the core of the village. The most zombies stay there, because a few survivors didn't escape soon enough. Anger is normally not a good advisor, but in this case it was very useful. Overloaded with anger, they began to slay zombies in the village and cut them in pieces. It doesn't matter that the undead were in the past their neighbors and friends. Their only behavior was to show their anger. Jim stopped only once after he saw his daughter. His first impulse was to hold her in his arms. But after she ran and screamed like an animal in his direction, he didn't wait any second and cut her head off with a spade. That didn't kill her, but it stopped her. He stopped his attack after he cut her little body in pieces. Mike asked him why he did it. Finally, it was his daughter. We all know his answer. No, that thing wasn't my beloved daughter. My daughter was the nicest and sweetest girl of the world. This stinking piece of garbage wasn't my flesh and blood. My daughter never would attack me like this. Nobody could or want to add something. By the way, they didn't kill all zombies in this moment. After more than an hour, they cut the last undead in shaking pieces. All 4 working colleagues didn't bury the parts. They walked back home, drank alcohol, take a shower, cried and eat something. At the next day they pack all they need, load their cars and drive to the next town with humans. After they hear from the Slayer groups, they join at once. They lost all and now they want to hunt as much zombies as they could. Before they joined the group of Sam and Fino, they were members of the team called Group of Haters. It was a group of equal, they lost beloved by the plague and want revenge. It was a crowd of idiots and careless, they sooner or later get killed. For the luck of Mike, Jim, Klaus and Kevin, they changed in the right time to the group of Fino and Sam. 1 week later, they get the information that the group of haters become killed by a crowd of zombies. The most of them were eaten alive, the rest eats now human flesh too. Like I said it, everyone have a reason to hate and hunt the undead, but that wasn't all reasons. Sven's story is very short. His parents died long time ago and he had no one in the world, and so his behavior was simple. Without an intact economy, no one could give him a job and he have no work. The life he knows didn't exist anymore. His only chance was to take what he gets and work out the best. In his case it was to join a group, provide them with sharp weapons and kill as much as he can zombies. He needs simply a function and to do something to free the world from the plague. For him it was better to die in the battle as living in fear. That was all to tell about Sven.